Hey now, my name is Nick, this is Board Game Brawl, and it is time for another titillating episode of Q&A. You ask me questions, I give you answers, I try my absolute best not to offend you, but I make no promises whatsoever, and boy howdy did we have some fantastic questions this past week. So many good ones, so little time. I wish that I could answer them all, but I'm trying to keep this as short and compact as possible, so I only picked 3 for today, but if I didn't answer your question, please take heart. I have looked at all your questions, I will save them for later. I may eventually answer them in a future episode. And in the meantime, please keep asking your questions and re-ask them just to keep them fresh in my head. I really appreciate everyone who takes their time to ask questions, everyone who views the videos. You can ask your questions down in the comment section of any social media site where you're watching this or on YouTube. You can email me directly at boardgamebrawl@gmail.com. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Now, sorry, I'm out of breath already. We haven't even started. Now, there's some business to take care of before we get to the 3 questions I picked for today, namely our contest. I'm giving away a copy of Machi Koro, the edition with the special Mega Gaming Store cards that just came out. Fantastic little game. I had some issues with the replayability of it because of the strategies, but someone actually, one of our viewers, recommended a great variant, which I tried and had a lot of fun with. And there should be an expansion coming out very soon, so I highly recommend the game. And our winner is Michael Fairgrieve. Michael, you are our winner, randomly selected from a very large list of contest participants. I should be sending out the game to you very soon, probably tomorrow, and you will have an email in your inbox asking for your personal information. Once again, Michael Fairgrieve is our winner of the Machi Koro game, so congratulate him. Very good job. And thanks to everyone who actually answered my question, not question so much, but name 3 anime shirts that I've worn, either directly related to an anime or referencing it in some way, shape, or form in order to get an extra entry in the contest. Lots and lots of people submitted their responses. Some of them were quite amusing, like Peanuts. Peanuts isn't quite an anime, sir, but I do appreciate your effort, so thanks for that. We'll try and have another contest maybe in a couple of weeks, maybe even next week. I'm trying to figure out my budget here, maybe see if I can get someone a game company to supply a game for the contest. We'll see. If I can do it, I'll do it. But I can't really promise a timetable of when contests will happen. But anyways, congratulations, Michael. Now, another piece of business. Well, first off, support us on Patreon if you can. Remember that every month we're going to be having Google Hangouts and even live gameplay sessions over either Google Hangouts or Skype to everyone that pledges at a certain very low level, actually. So if you can support us on Patreon, that would be fantastic. And thank you to everyone who already has. I'll have a link down in the comments section. But Extra Life 2014, we just had the gaming marathon this past Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. Sunday, and it was a lot of fun. It really went off better than I would have hoped, not only as far as the equipment actually cooperating for most of the time. It didn't look fantastic or sound fantastic, but it did the job. But also we met our goal. Thank you to everyone who supported us. We broke through our $200 goal, which was pretty modest, but I'm quite happy that we made it. So thank you everyone who donated. Thank you to everyone who helped spread the word, shared the video, talked about us on social media. Really appreciate that. And we're definitely going to do it again next year. Now, having said that, I'm my own worst critic, even though I'm on the internet. And even though no one really complained about anything, and I think everyone pretty much who was watching had a good time with the videos, I will do some things differently next time. Just because things that I've noticed that I want to be different. One of them is definitely that we're going to have less people. I think it would be better if I just have a controlled group of like me and 3 or 4 other people sitting at one table playing a set list of games that I choose ahead of time, maybe get feedback from the audience for them. Games that would be good on camera, things that look good. Keep it a small group of people, maybe have people come and go from a core group, but still keep the number around 5 people. Really just taking some cues from Vassal and how he did his 24-hour gaming marathon that I participated in, because it ran like a tight ship, which I think is better when you have other games going on in the background and the people in the back are talking very loudly and talking over the people in the front. It's hard for the viewer to really know what the hell's going on. And it's very distracting, especially when there's a lot of dead time where I have to step away from the table and tend to other matters, people coming in, setting things up, moving tables around, taking care of my dogs. So I like having my dogs on camera, but I'd probably have someone else take care of them for that amount of time, and so on. And I'll also I'm only going to do one of those 24-hour gaming marathons a year, but I'll probably do more live gaming events, and I'll try to stick to that format. I just think it's better. I'll also try to keep people strict about not using bad language. I am not a prude by any means. I swear a lot in my private life, and we played Cards Against Humanity at like 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, and I think that was okay because people knew we were about to play it. And if they didn't want to watch it, they didn't have to. And it was really, really late in the night, so chances are they weren't watching it with their families anyways. So that wasn't a big deal. But as far as just like casual swearing and things, you know, I do want it to be, especially since it's for charity, I want people to be able to watch it. And I know LeVar Burton read the Go the F to Sleep book, but still, that's LeVar Burton. And I'm trying to keep these videos sort of universal to anyone who wants to watch. And I know there are some people who watch it with their kids, so I'll probably be more strict about that in the future as well. I know a lot of you probably don't care about that based on some of the comments that I read as far as profanity, but nevertheless, I want to keep it as all-encompassing as possible. So those are just some changes I'll probably do in the future for live plays, and hopefully for the next 24-hour gaming marathon, I'll have even better equipment. So I'll keep my fingers crossed for that. Really, within a year, if I don't have better equipment, I should just quit, I think. 1 year is plenty of time. Anyways, on to the questions. I've rambled enough. So I'm actually going to answer a question that I'm not prescribing to just one person. A lot of people have asked me these questions in the comments section here, on Facebook, and emails. Where do I get all those Japanese games that I get and review all the time? All those quirky, crazy Japanese games that I give really good reviews to, and that I immediately feel really bad about giving good reviews to because I know that people really can't get them readily. But although some of them you have been able to. Like I reviewed Tragedy Looper like almost a year ago, I think, or near the beginning of 2014, and sure enough, Z-Man picked it up, which I was shocked at, but now it's readily available. It did sell out when it first premiered over here, but probably because of my review. No, but you know, a lot of people really wanted it, and it showed up over here, so there you go. So I can't really tell you how I get these games, because what happens is there's a couple of publishers that I know over in Japan who like my videos, like my reviews, know that I have a penchant for these kind of quirky Japanese games. Like Tanto Cuore, I think, was where people really took notice. I was one of the only reviewers actually talking about that game. So they contacted me and wanted me to review their games, and they sent them to me. And some of them I did purchase, and that's kind of how that led to some of the contacts that I have over there. Because up until this year, they were actually, like Japan Brand was actually selling, taking pre-orders for games that they were going to sell at Essen, and they were actually shipping them internationally before the fair. But they stopped doing that this year, and I'm not sure that they'll ever do it again. But luckily, I had, you know, made good with the company, and they wanted to send me games strictly for review purposes. So I guess what I'm saying is, there's not really a good way to get most of the games that I review. There are some Japanese websites that sell some of the more obscure deck builders, and even like Amazon has entries for like Heart of Crown, for instance, that you can buy at a pretty inflated price. But there's just not a good way right now. But here's what I would say. There is hope on the horizon, and I think the Tragedy Looper is a good example of this. If you really want to see these games, if you want to see them made, let people know. Go to the comment section for these games, not just on my videos, but on Board Game Geek or any other social media site that actually is talking about the game. Let people know that you want to see it. Let the publishers know. Email them, contact them, talk to any publishers that you may already know, or people that you know that are interested in publishing these types of games. Let them know, and let them make contact with the people that originally published the game over in Japan or whatever other country, Taiwan, Korea, because there's a lot of great games over there, and sometimes they just kind of go unnoticed. Not all the time. I mean, there's publishers always looking for great games, but sometimes they fall between the cracks. But they need fans to let them know that you want to see this game. And that's the best thing I can tell you. Then it might happen. And trust me, I wish I could have cool English North American editions of some of the games I already have, because I want to see them sort of in their glory, look better, have better production quality, and see tons and tons of people playing them. I would love that, but you need to get the word out. I'm doing the best I can reviewing them and getting them out into the media as best I can, but I need your help. I mean, that's the best way I can put it. So, sorry I don't have a better answer, but hopefully we'll see more and more of these games coming over here. Thanks to everyone who asked the question. No one in particular. All right. Baduk Player 87 wants to know about micro games and how replayable they are. He said there's been a lot of talk over on some German message boards about whether micro games have high replay value at all, and do I think in general that they do, that they have replay value. I like a lot of different micro games, especially the games of Seiji Kanai, and they're always going to be filler games, and that's the thing. I think that filler games, by their very nature, they're very replayable because of how fast they are, because of how easy they are, how simple they are to learn. But on the other hand, there's tons of filler games out there, and there's more and more and more coming out. So with that much content out there, I think it kills the replayability of any single game because there's always something else to take its place. So in that regard, I don't think that they're very replayable, but I will say that I've played Love Letter like 30 times, no exaggeration, at least. I probably haven't even logged every play of that I've had. Lost Legacy is getting up there too. I mean, there are some games that just work really well, and I think that's the key. There's tons of micro games out there, but the ones that really sing, the ones that are fantastic, are going to stick around and will have that replay value. It's just a matter of universal appeal. Because sometimes I play micro games with people and everyone has a good time, and as soon as we're done and we're ready to split off into bigger and better games, there are people who I played the game and enjoyed it who will go off and play a game I have no interest in at all, and vice versa. So I think that it's having that universal appeal to many groups of gamers who like all kinds of different genres and types of games. Those are the games that are going to have the most replay value and stick around the longest, but that's not going to be every game. Some of the games like No Thanks and Love Letter and Lost Legacy to a degree, Sushi Go for me, these things are going to stick around for a very long time, but in the meantime you're going to see tons and tons of filler light micro games just sort of fall out and not do very well because the market is kind of saturated. But I think that's the nature of board gaming in general. Think of how many games, big or small, come out every single year, and they may be okay, they might be solid games, but they don't have that staying power. I've gotten rid of tons of games that were okay, but weren't fantastic. And it's the same way with micro games. Find one that your group really likes and try not to overplay it. Kind of keep it in balance with other filler-like games that you play and just give it some breathing room. Like, I've taken a break from Love Letter for a while, and I kind of feel like playing it now. I think that's the key to making any game replayable. And our final question is from Shelby Buttimer. She wants to say, I'll just read her question verbatim. What's the appeal of Adventure Time? I watched the first episode and thought it was stupid. Does it get better? Well, first off, Shelby, you've got some nerve coming on my channel, trashing at Adventure Time. Get out! No, I'm just kidding. Look, not every show is for every person, and I think Adventure Time has the capability of being very polarizing because it's absurd. It's surreal, trippy, like weird, and I was not a big fan of it myself the first couple episodes that I watched, but I stuck with it. And also, if you watch the very first episode, that's one of the weakest episodes, but if you stick with it, it gets better. I don't always say that because I think that a show should be at least decent right off the bat, but really this one does get better, and you still might not end up liking it because it caters to a particular group of people. I would call them the Uber nerds, I think. Kids and Uber nerds. Because when I watch Adventure Time, I see so many references to Dungeons and Dragons and like anime to a small degree, and just like tons of pop culture things hidden in the mix. And part of it is because in the storyline of that world, it supposedly takes place in like, I mean, I'm not entirely sure, but like in the far, far future after like an apocalypse essentially ruined the world. So you find all these old nostalgic things like a VHS player and BMOs, a talking computer, and, you know, old World War II warheads and things like this, and old cities. So I like all those references a lot. You know, having said all this, I haven't watched the show in quite a while. I'm probably 1 or 2 seasons behind. But it's still a fun show. I think you just need to have the right mindset for it, or having kids, or having some recreational help probably increases the viewing potential of that show. But it's just fun. It's just supposed to be silly fun. Don't take it too seriously. There's certainly better shows out there. Being an anime fan, and Adventure Time is not anime. Some people in the contest thought it was, but there's certainly better anime and even other American cartoons that I like better than Adventure Time, like Batman the Animated Series. But it is so unique and so creative that I gotta give it props. It's just like no other cartoon I'd ever seen up until that point. Although I think more and more shows are trying to imitate it. So I don't know what to tell you, Shelby. You're either going to like it or you don't. You shouldn't keep watching it just because everyone else is. Different strokes for different folks. You're just going to like different things. But I'd be curious to what shows you do like and what other animated shows I should be checking out, because I'm kind of out of the loop on that, to be honest. Even with anime, I haven't been watching too much lately. So give me your recommendations as well as your questions. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting us in Extra Life. Thank you for potentially supporting us on Patreon. Please, thank you very much. And keep your questions coming. My name is Nick. This has been Q&A and Board Game Brawl. And I'm reminding you to get out there and game every day and every way. Take care.